So we're talking about the third exercise for the mallets. Time signature is in 4/4, which is great, pretty easy enough for us. Key signature is in C major, which conceptually for percussionists is very easy to understand. However, C major is actually one of the more difficult keys for us to execute because we don't have any accidentals to kind of lock us in place when we're going up and down scales. So you want to make sure you're practicing your C major scales, as maybe silly that may sound because they seem so easy. It's actually fairly easy to miss notes in the C major scale. So I'll be practicing your C major scales, make sure you're really fluent and you're not going to be missing notes by accident. We're at 120 beats a minute for this excerpt, so making sure you're practicing with the metronome. Probably start learning maybe around half tempo or so, because we do have lots of articulations everywhere. We have staccatos, accents, tenutos. So in the previous video we talked about staccatos. What I tend to do is tighten up my grip just a little bit, and that's going to deaden the sound, giving that illusion of a staccato that a wind player would give. Typically I try to play as loose as possible with the stick, which gives me a nice warm open sound. But when we need something staccato, that doesn't quite work. So I tend to tighten up just a little bit and play into the bar, and that's going to give that illusion of the staccato. Accents just give a little bit more velocity, speed to your stroke to kind of give a little bit more bite so it pops up. And then your tenutos are going to be somewhere in the middle of that, a little bit of an emphasis in between a non-accented note and an accented note, okay? In terms of dynamics, we have a range anywhere from pianissimo to forte. Now there's only one spot in the etude that is pianissimo, and you want to make sure that you're really emphasizing that soft dynamic. That's your one spot. You have 4 beats to really show how soft you can play, and not just how soft you can play, but your control over the instrument when you play at that dynamic. So make sure that you're still playing into the bar, but from a very low height, and you're getting a good sound, and you're still keeping time and you don't slow down by accident. Lastly, in the last 4 measures, we want to make sure that we're starting the beginning of each measure pretty strong, okay? So, but each one is going to each measure is going to start a little bit lesser, so we kind of have this overall phrasing of it's winding down until we get to the end. Now for the 4th measure from the end, I would start that around like a forte plus, just a little bit above a forte. That way we have somewhere to kind of really start high from. So I'd start on that A natural, around a forte plus. 3rd to last measure, I would go from there on out as what's written: forte, decrescendo, and then the 2nd to last measure, mezzo, forte, decrescendo, until you get to that last measure where we have forte. And then when you get to the last measure, you're going to want to take that repeat all the way back to the beginning and run through the piece one more time, and that'll conclude the exercise. And with that, here's a performance of exercise number 3.